Thank you, Mr Speaker. My question is to the Minister for Employment and Workplace Relations. How is the Albanese Labor government closing loopholes that undercut pay and conditions for working Australians?
The call to the Minister for Workplace Relations, Minister for Employment and the Minister for the Arts.
Thanks very much, Mr Speaker, and thanks to the member for Holt, who has spent all her time, both in this parliament and beforehand, trying to make sure that wages are moving for some of the lowest paid Australians. Last year, this parliament legislated for secure jobs and better pay. This year, this parliament, and today, this afternoon, immediately after question time, this government will introduce legislation designed to close the loopholes that undercut wages and conditions in this country. There are four main loopholes that need to be closed. The first relates to the gig economy, then to wage theft, then to casuals, and then to labour hire. On the gig economy at the moment, for all those people working in the gig economy, because they are not technically employees, every single one of their rights falls off a cliff. They have no minimum rates of pay. They have no guaranteed conditions. Every one of their rights falls off a cliff because of the method of engagement. What this government's legislation will do will be to accept the flexibility. Australians want the technology, people want the flexibility, but you have to be able to have 21st century technology without having 19th century working conditions going with it, and that will be reflected in today's legislation. On wage theft, it has always been the case, as it should be, that if a worker steals from the till, it's a crime. But it should also be a crime if the employer deliberately steals from the worker. And we saw under those opposite time after time after time where they'd make tough words about wage theft but then do nothing about it in this parliament, to the point where they went through the charade in this House of introducing legislation to make wage theft a crime, voting for it here and then voting down their own legislation once it got to the Senate. On casuals, many casuals, most casuals want to retain the form of engagement that they currently have. But let's not forget, for casuals, 40% of casuals are over the age of 35. And if you're in a position where you are maintaining household expenses, your bills aren't casual, your rent's not casual, try getting a mortgage if you're casual. A number of these people will want to have a right, if their hours already reflect permanent work, to be able to shift to a secure job. And today's legislation will give them that. And finally, for the labour hire loophole. Most businesses don't have enterprise agreements in place, but where they do, the employer has agreed to minimum rates of pay. Those rates of pay should be the minimum of that workplace. They shouldn't be undercut by the labour hire loophole, where suddenly everything that's been registered and agreed to can be forgotten. Those loopholes have been hanging around for years. The step to close them happens immediately after question.